Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how are you doing today, Elliot?
Good. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic, and I'm very excited for this show. Two Jews Choose. It's just amazing how you can take the subjects and make us laugh on the inside, sharing it with those that we're going to continue this out here on the other side of the flat screen. You're the seed planter, and we're going to grow with it.
Good. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you feel that way.
Where did this idea start? Were you sitting around just sharing a beer, or what happened here? How did it begin?
Honestly, I was dating somebody who was Protestant from Texas.
Okay.
And the more time we spent together, the more I realized how exotic or far away a lot of Jewish stuff was to him. Basically, he was Goyish and didn't really understand the difference between what was just ethnic, what felt ethnically Jewish to me. And so it became a really fun game where I could, talk about it with other Jews, because it really is a universal thing it's just a language that is shared between us. And so I thought it'd be a really funny way to kind of spread it wider through a little bit of comedy.
And I love the way that you do that, because my wife and I are in the same boat. She's Jewish, I'm Christian, and we do have those conversations where we compare basically we'll do it from religion all the way through sitting down and having dinner.
Of course, you're comparing notes.
But that's how we learn. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we've lasted 29 years. It's like, okay, you have your space, I've got my space. What do you want to do about it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it really is. It really is. The funny part to me is that it's all very subjective. It's not based on like real facts or data or science. Jews can drink milk with dinner if they want to, but of course it just feels super goyish to those of us who are Jewish. You just feel it in your bones. And so I think it's just a really funny thing to talk about. It's kind of irreverent, but once you know, you know.
One of the things where we laughed out loud was when you compared hot dogs and hamburgers, and you said, oh yeah, hot dogs are definitely Jewish food.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, yep, like in my brain, it's like, yes, Nathan's or Coney Island,
right.
Kosher beef. Like it just, I know exactly where to go with it. And honestly, like so do other Jews. And it's just funny to talk about a shared experience that feels like it's born out of just existing, but there's a lot of comedy that comes from that. And I think that's why the show works, but also why it's so zippy and fast, and we could just kind of roll with it. It's pretty casual and easy to cover.
If you knew how many times my wife and I stood there in front of the hot dogs, and she's reaching for the Nathan's and I'm reaching for the Oscar Mayer, I mean, it really does break it down.
Oh yeah, I mean, it just feels. Again, it's just like in our bones, and it's so funny to share it with the rest of the world. And of course, there are people and shows and stuff in the world, like ephemera, that just feels Jewish, that I think people gravitate to in general. Bernie Sanders or Larry David, Seinfeld, New York culture in general. But I think making it specific in this way, in a conversation that I think to be shared and appreciated by Jews and non-Jews alike. Hopefully that's the vibe of the series that people connect with, just wanting to like know and learn more about why something feels Jewish and why something feels good.
I would rather be at the beach. My wife would rather be at the pool. And I mean, and it's like, it's just amazing how that, and you talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, although my parents were like, no, the pool's Jewish, not the beach. But I disagree. I just feel like, Coney Island, it just feels, that the beach just feels Jewier to me, and I'm allowed to say Jewy. Like I'm allowed. I can say it, and even if you technically can't say it, or you would get canceled for saying it, it's fine by me. But I'm happy to carry the torch.
But see, that's what I love. It'd be like sitting down and having a conversation with Mark Maron, because you're absolutely right. You can say it, but that's the fun part about having the conversation, is that I know I can't, but you can, but that's where the conversation gets deeper.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's where the concept came from, is that my boyfriend at the time, I don't know if he thought he couldn't say it. I mean, that probably is the case, but I think his disconnection, like he really was disconnected from these very logical these very logical and instinctive feelings that I had. He just couldn't understand how I was like why I would have a hot dog over a hamburger, or why I would gravitate toward Russian dressing versus like ranch. You know, he would dip his pizza in ranch, and I was like, what planet are you from? You know, I know I'm the minority here, but I'm like, what planet are you from? What are you doing?
Now, do you break it down to the point to where on Hanukkah it's Chinese food after the family get together? We got to go to the Chinese restaurant.
No, that's Christmas. On Christmas when you have Chinese food. On Hanukkah, you actually have like latke or you know, more traditionally Jewish food. But yeah, again, it's like, I don't know if everybody knows. I don't know how many people know outside of the tri-state area that, you know, on Christmas the Jews get Chinese food. Like, it's just something we all understand, Chinese food in a movie, but it's fun to share it with the rest of the world, especially people who, again, might not understand it, might not be aware of it from a distance. It's just fun, especially during Jewish American Heritage Month. It's fun to bring it into the conversation through light, funny, zippy comedy that just feels conversational.
Now, when you talk about the Jewish American Heritage Month, my wife last night actually questioned me. She says, "When did that start?" I mean, and I go, "Well, you should know, but when did it start?"
I'm like her. I have no idea. I'm just glad it exists, because honestly, part of the idea was born out of the rise in anti-Semitism, you know, in the past few years.
Yeah.
I mean, it never really goes away. And I always start the episodes by saying, you may not love the Jews, but, you know, we don't mind. Just, we judge you. We may judge you, but we don't hate you, because it always feels like someone's out to get us, or like there's always a rise in anti-Semitism somewhere. And so even though that is something that is really dark and depressing, I thought it would be fun to combat it with something lighter that also, you know, it celebrates Jewish pride in a way that feels inclusive to everybody.
Now, the Zoom touch appeal, I mean, is that the simple, when you talk about the simplicity and stuff like that, you know, make it look like a Zoom, because our viewers are going to tap in because they're used to seeing Zoom. They're going to feel like that they are right here in this moment with us.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's like a means to an end, because, you know, I've shot this over the past year or so, and, you know, ostensibly at this point, or at that point, we definitely had to do everything over Zoom. But quite honestly, it just makes things easier by now. And although I did do it in person with Josh Peck, most of them we had to do on Zoom because of scheduling, but also because of the pandemic. And but at this point, I think everybody's just used to it. I mean, we're doing it on Zoom right now. Like, it's just a way of the world that I think is going to stick around, because it makes life easier.
I love it, because I love the texture of it, because it's original, and nobody else is doing it with the conversations that you are. Now, sadly, there's only 5 episodes. You can't stop at 5, Elliot. You're starting something.
Well, hopefully Comedy Central is listening, or somebody wants to make it into a full-blown TV show, because but you know, doing it on digital is still an awesome way to start. It's an awesome and easy way to get the videos into people's feeds. Again, I hope that it's the kind of thing that feels not just multi-generational, but that, you know, appeals to everybody of all ages, because, you know, my parents who are in their 60s totally speak the language, but I think people who are older and plenty of people who are younger will understand it and get it. And it's, you know, again, it's bite-sized, it's digital. So I think that hopefully makes it really fun and easy to digest. So now, where did the name come from, Two Jews Choose? Because I could just hear a movie trailer guy going, "Tonight on Two Jews Choose." I mean, it's just perfect. Where did it come from? I don't know. I like things that rhyme, and I like coming up with like punny nonsense, and it just felt appropriate. Although my mom is still having trouble remembering it, which kind of bums me out, because I think it's pretty easy to remember. Yeah. But it's also a tongue twister as well. I mean, you say it fast enough, you're gonna go. That's right. It's hard, but it's also funny to say Jews and choose, because honestly, like, that could be, you know, Jews choose. It rhymes on it rhymes too closely on purpose. Like, why not? Why not make it a tongue twister? Well, good job, dude. I cannot wait to talk to you more in the future, because you just let your creativity flow, and I just love you for that. Oh, so that's so nice of you to say. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay, Elliot?
Thanks. I appreciate it.